This week's episode is brought to you by the home and auto insurance brand Canadians trust most, Intact Insurance. Hello, welcome to the Jann Arden podcast and show. I am here with Sarah Burke, Caitlin Green. They are in their Toronto homes. I am in my Springbank, Alberta home. A bear was here last night, and I know I talk about my bird feeder a lot, but this time when I came out there, I gasped.
I gasped. You just told me that, and I'm here in my condo.
It was ripped off and in small pieces.
The bird feeder?
Yeah, not our camera one. Our camera one was hanging by a thread.
Okay.
I got it back up, Sarah. You should have seen me doing the strap and trying to get everything back up. And it's still going.
Jeez.
That little mother effer. The big, giant wooden one. You guys have seen me take pictures of it if you're following me on socials.
Or Patreon.
Splinters. Yesterday, this is my fault. I had fed the bird and I put a little extra in and I tried something different. I gave them some sunflower seeds. Well, apparently the sunflower seeds have triggered a frenzy. I think I poured bear fentanyl in my bird feeder.
Just bodies lying around the bird feeder.
It was just like the guy said, yeah, the blue jays really like you might want to try those. It's a little cheaper. I'm thinking, okay, cool. I'll try these. Mother God, it just is in pieces. So I've got most of it already kind of stacked. I'm looking over my shoulder and I'm going to be burning the bird feeder. So I'm sorry to the people that gave it to me. That's all the time we have on the show today.
That's it.
And anyway, let's just jump right in. P. Diddy, what a dick. And he is in trouble. Caitlin, go.
Okay, I have fallen down a conspiratorial rabbit hole surrounding the Diddy filing where he's being held in prison. He was not released on bail because they're concerned about intimidation of witnesses. This man is very powerful. He's very well connected. How long do we think until he says he's like sick in jail?
He's on suicide watch.
The celebrity male urge to be called into court for things that you've done wrong and behaviors that you have rightfully like done on your own, and then to come in with like a cane a la Harvey Weinstein, or to be like, oh, my cataracts.
I don't think they're wrong.
It's a legal play they also do in addition to trying to deny any sort of responsibility, where they just think if I can play the weak old man card, maybe I will get out of jail free. And absolutely not. We saw, and by we I mean me, I'm not sure if you guys did, but we've all seen the video of him dragging Cassie down the hallway of a hotel by her hair. I am sorry. You are a piece of human garbage. Bury your ass under the jail. And the allegations being made against him for these quote unquote freak offs at his parties are so dark. It is so, so dark. And his personal security guard, and obviously Cassie herself, like truly a hero, because she did so many people a service by coming out and speaking out against him. But the audio they have, the things that they've been saying, and now the concerns over what will the powerful elite of the world do to keep him silenced. I think he's going to get Epsteined. That's what I think.
Yeah. Like die in prison?
Like not necessarily by his own hand.
Well, when I heard suicide watch, I didn't feel sorry for him for 1 second, not 1 millisecond. But these freak offs, and I just want to expand on that a bit. So what he's been doing, according to the charges that were laid out this past week, is hiring sex workers. I don't know if by their own, if they volunteered to be hired to make money, but he kept them high on ketamine, like different kinds of drugs. So there's all kinds of drugs charges involved, like kidnapping, reckless endangerment. Like the list is really long, but he makes these people, literally forces them to have crazy sex in front of him or a group of people. It's going to be so interesting to see who was involved in sitting there with their fucking popcorn and a cold beer,
or worse,
or participating,
or victimized by it, or because the thing is, a lot of people have on the internet again, and I'm saying this because like this is the conspiracy, like to a certain extent, the tinfoil hat side of what people believe about Hollywood. So how much of this is or isn't true, the courts will decide. But he was the legal guardian of Usher when Usher was very, very young. And I think much like many powerful figures in Hollywood and in the music industry, they kind of glamour people's parents sometimes into believing that, like I have your kid's best interest at heart. And the parents, maybe they want the money, they want proximity to power themselves. And so they hand that over. But like, what did Usher see? And then Usher becomes the tie for Diddy to Justin Bieber. And Justin Bieber has talked about, without naming names or getting into specifics, but about the dark side of Hollywood and how negatively fame impacted him at such a young age. And people have unearthed these old videos of Justin Bieber looking really uncomfortable around Diddy. When Diddy's like, "How come you don't party with me anymore?" And now we all know what party with Diddy could mean.
So
It's
you're
dark.
exposed to, allegedly,
Mm-hmm.
he could have been exposed to all kinds of really crappy stuff. Anyway, it's
Oh,
There's
so
a
weird.
Zane Lowe interview from Apple too, with Bieber
yeah.
talking about, like, without mentioning,
Mm-hmm.
which is really interesting if you want to go back to it.
I love Zane Lowe's interviews. Yeah, it's wild. I mean, Diddy has been notorious for these parties for years, and the upper echelon of society fight to go. And I think at the very least, you can safely assume that there's a lot of sex and a lot of drugs going on at these parties. And as a
That's what
result, he as a result, he has leverage over people. And that's what they've been saying about his role in Hollywood for a long time, has been in kind of this mafiosa figure where he would have people who worked on his personal IT team, and they claimed that they would install cameras in the house, all throughout the house, and that he would hire sometimes, very often, male sex workers to ply
oh God.
male hip hop artists with drugs and alcohol, and
That's
then
so crazy.
take them to a room, and they would have
Yeah.
some sort of sexual contact, and then he would blackmail them with the footage that he had because he had installed a camera system throughout every corner of his house.
Oh, Jesus.
It's so dark. So I
It
will be
just gets
watching this
worse
trial
and
like a
worse.
hawk.
Yeah.
The fact that he's just in a really, really terrible remand center, which is basically, a prison before you get to prison, but
Mhm.
apparently the it's just horrible conditions. Like, they have him segregated, obviously, from the rest of the people, but you've got to understand what happens to a guy that's a narcissist, has so much power, has wielded it for decades, so much money, so much
Mhm.
privilege, and he's sitting in there and has to shit basically in a hole,
Mhm.
is served whatever gruel on a steel tray through a door. It does not, I don't know how much time that they get to go outside and walk around, but it's pretty extreme circumstances that they're holding him under, because they don't want him knifed. They don't want him killed,
No.
or they want to keep him alive for this. But he's gonna have the money, all the money in the world,
Yep.
just to try and fight these charges. But yeah, I'm
They're
with
already
you.
saying, "Oh, just because he had a alternative lifestyle doesn't mean that he was conducting himself criminally." That's obviously the case that his lawyers are trying to make. And I do think that'll sort of be what they try to hang their hat on, is that a degree of this being all about what happened between consenting adults. But you just look at that footage of Cassie in the hotel hallway and you tell me what you think this guy's capable of, because I think it's dark stuff.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
hoping people come forward. And normally, wouldn't the prosecutors have an extraordinary giant pile of information to go
Oh,
and
yeah.
lay these charges, to be able to arrest him and keep him? And because,
Hmm.
like, if they didn't, a fancy lawyer would be in there, let my client go. He can have a ankle bracelet on and stay in his own home until you guys
Hmm.
sort this out. But I feel like they have a mountain of stuff. So hopefully a lot of people have come forward. And like you said, Caitlin, that Hollywood angle, who has he been pressuring and elbowing a little bit in the corners to go, you do this for me, or this is going to come out, or this footage
Yep.
of you? Let's hope
Yes.
that Prince Andrew's not involved, because he can't take any more of this stuff. He just can't.
Prince Andrew, my goodness. That guy. Randy
So,
Andy.
and what's going on with Kennedy? What's going on with Robert Kennedy? I know nothing of this. You're like, and another scandal with Robert Kennedy.
Two
So,
so these were the two sort of big trending scandals this week. So Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the one who thought that he was going to run for president and then fell out because he just was never going to have a shot at it, and then started endorsing Trump. He has become this kind of poster child for zany, out there, also conspiracy theories. And so he was being profiled by a writer, and her name is Olivia Nuzzi, and she kind of became reviled, I think, by like she was just stuck up in a lot of the Trump political discourse for many years. So she has her own presence online, and she was doing a profile on him. This is a woman who kind of made fun of him a lot, and her the way she described him in some of her writing was really not favorable. Turns out they were having an affair, and she allegedly started sending him nude photos of herself. And RFK Jr. is married to Cheryl Hines, who you might know from Curb Your Enthusiasm. And it's been kind of embarrassing for her to be attached to this guy. But I do think the two of them perhaps got together under the guise of maybe an affair. And so now he's what, 70 or 70 something, and Olivia Nuzzi is, I believe, 38 or something like that. So he's essentially old enough to like kind of be like grandpa adjacent age, at the very least, like a very old uncle. And she was engaged to someone else who was much older. I'd say she was engaged to somebody who seemed like old enough to maybe be her dad, and now she's veered into grandpa territory for her affair. And so the internet's having a lot of fun with that one. And it's bizarre because it's the same week that someone dug up this old interview that one of Robert F. Kennedy's daughters did about how he, and she's telling this to Town and Country magazine, I believe, or some kind of magazine like that.
Know
So
your audience. Oh my God.
And she says, oh, well, my dad back in the day, and this is just the kind of thing he did when we were kids, he got an alert that a whale had beached itself near our home in like Nantucket or Maine or something. And he went out there and decapitated the whale's corpse and attached the head to the roof of their car. And they drove home with the head of this beached whale on their car. And every time he hit the brakes or would accelerate, like whale innards would fly out all over the car. I don't mean to laugh because it's the most gruesome thing I could imagine. But like, this man's not well. And I don't know why his daughter would lie about that. And this interview happened years before he was the public figure that he is now. So he's trying to say this is all a takedown. But in 1 week, his affair has come out, and then this story starts circulating about him decapitating a whale. And I don't even know how you do that physically.
It's so disrespectful.
But like, what?
It's just disrespectful to any living or dead creature to do that.
Oh my God.
And
to say nothing of what are you doing with it? Why do you want it? Why do you want the head?
People have lost the plot. They've just completely lost the plot.
Yes, they have.
And but I'm sorry. Now we have Trumpy son. But you think about the ludicrous things he says and does.
I know.
And, like you said, the whole idea of someone being mentally unfit to even be running for president, never mind be president.
I know.
There's still a chance that Trump could very well be the president of the United States. And that frightens me to no end, but we're not going to spend any
It's
more
flat
time.
out 50-50. I'll say that. It certainly seems 50-50. Like it's going to be
50-50.
It's going to be close.
I don't like the odds.
No.
Yeah.
No. But I remember because I studied media in university and even in high school, and it was just like kind of what I was drawn towards. And I'm not sure if you guys ever remember the work of Marshall McLuhan, and they like would talk a lot of.
The medium is the message, baby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what he and and media writers and commentators and sort of like almost like philosophers like him would say was that when television came along, it was going to change everything and make it so that politics became a celebrity game. And that's exactly what's happened. Like it took a minute, but like here we are. It did happen that way. And so now the next forefront of that is obviously going to be social media, and it's all kind of going to come together in this big Frankenstein moment, and we're living it. But
Yeah.
the whale's head decapitating and the affair and the Diddy, and I had to take a break at some point this week and step away from it because I just felt that the mental health crisis is running rampant through famous people.
Caitlin was like, we're going to the park.
Yeah, I'm going to the park. We're going to the park. We're going to go in the swings. I need to center myself in a world that is a little bit more wholesome.
Fame has teeth. And power is obviously something that's very seductive. It's like these people are being, lured onto the rocks by some beautiful siren that is speaking the words of, you will have everything, eternal youth, money, you can do whatever you want in the world. And then they're just falling apart. They're just literally falling apart. And speaking of falling apart, there's a bride who's very upset right now in the world after her plans for a Disney World Bachelorette party went very wrong. None, zero, nada of her 7 bridesmaids, babes, or whatever they're called, went. So what happened, Caitlin?
They said nay, like your hat, Jan. They said we don't have the money. We can't afford this because Disney World's so expensive. Everyone knows it's expensive.
The expectation to go to Disney World for a bachelorette is ridiculous from the top.
Can you imagine if someone said to you, let's go off and have the time of our lives with Mickey Mouse to the tune of $5,000 to $7,000, which is what it probably would cost if you were going to go there for 3 or 4 days.
I'd rather stay home and braise cabbage and literally watch the new Ellen DeGeneres comedy stand-up special than go to Disneyland. And I'll tell you what, when I went a month ago, there was myriad bridal parties.
No.
Really?
Yes.
It's a thing? It's like a whole thing?
No, we saw, I'm going to say at least a dozen with the sashes, waiting in the lineups with their drinks, like just being young women in their 20s getting married. They have no idea what's ahead of them. I think if I had a bride that wanted to go to Disneyland for their bachelorette party, I would be concerned. I would probably call off the wedding myself. And I love Disneyland, don't get me wrong, but I would never even want a bachelorette party. I think they're ludicrous. But see, that's me just being an old curmudgeon and
you know what I was thinking.
But Caitlin's smiling because you go ahead and you have something to say, but I want
Sarah to say
Caitlin.
her thing.
Okay.
I was going to say, should we be treating our live event coming up as Jann's bachelorette?
Oh my God. Penis straws against her will?
Well, no. I don't think we need penis straws.
That
but
would
the
be
idea
against my
of
will.
the idea of celebrating, something big and like, single gals who aren't going to get married or have no interest in getting married. And maybe Jann and I are both those people right now. Could change, but right now I think we're both
Could
those people.
change. Anything
TBD.
can happen.
Yeah, but I feel like, maybe and asking Jann to come to Toronto instead of Disneyland is a lot more. It's a lot more.
At least
affordable.
I have a place to stay.
I know, you have your own place. You don't have to pay for that.
And we're funding it.
Disney.
Do we feel bad for her? Do we feel
for the
bad?
bride?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel bad for her, but not about this.
Okay.
I mean, I feel bad for her.
No, she should know before asking.
I feel bad for her in like a spiritual way. Like I just don't want this for you. I don't want you to celebrate your wedding and your end of single days with your girlfriends adjacent to Mickey Mouse while you're being price gouged at every turn. Like it's just you're like, I want to go to the happiest place on earth. Like that's just not for me. Culturally devoid, in my opinion.
Did you have a bachelorette party?
I certainly did.
What did you do? I was literally
Tell
going to
us
go
everything.
there today.
Yeah.
We went to Montreal.
Okay.
As you
talk
do.
about prices. Does everyone fund their own way? Like
yes, everyone funds their own way, but I think I paid for a dinner, but then they also all paid for a dinner.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of that. And again, I will say I am not disappointed. Like I also had a very difficult to get to destination wedding, but I full chest did not care if anyone didn't come. I had some of my closest friends say that they weren't able to come. And I was like, I love you. I totally get it. If I am there alone with Kyle, that is just my journey.
Where did you get married?
We got married in Italy, like in Tuscany.
Oh
so it was like prohibitively, if you're not down to take a trip to Italy, if you yourself, and this is how I've positioned it, I said, if you yourself don't get this, like don't open this invitation and say, you know what, I really wanted to go to Italy anyway. This is a great idea. If you open it and go, God damn it, then please don't come. Like you don't have to come. I don't care. Like we'll just have fun in Toronto. So we went to Montreal though for my bachelorette and we went for 2 nights. We partied it up. Some people flew there, some people drove, some people took the train. Some people came for only 1 night.
Choose your own adventure.
Very DIY. And I don't have a whole ton of activities planned, but I did say like 1 night we're going to a strip club and like both nights we're drinking. So like for me, that was what I was like.
Those were the only things.
Yeah. You don't have to drink, but like I am.
I'm
drinking.
reliving last year already right now.
Yeah. And I just said, don't, like, if you want to, like, when the days came, everyone was like, we should do this or do like a tour of the old port. And I was like, no, like my hungover ass is going to be on a patio having a Caesar. And like, if you guys want to go shopping, do that. Or if you want to go on a tour, do that. Like really your only obligation to me is like, come with me if you would like to during the day. And if you don't want to do your own thing, it's Montreal for you to see. If you want to go eat bagels, like I love that for you. But this is when we're going to meet for dinner and then that's it.
Well, how many people?
I don't know. I want to say like 20.
Oh my gosh, that's
Jesus.
great.
Yeah, it
That's
was
amazing. A
because
good
some people,
turnout.
yeah, people also too, like this was the age where like I think I was one of the earlier weddings in our group of friends. So like people were still down to clown a bit. Like they were like excited about this stuff and like let's all go and drink and party. You know, by the 10th, it's wearing off, the fun's wearing off, and you adjust your expectations a bit. There were more cottages later on in our like bachelorette
Yes,
stories.
yes.
But like we had some in Vegas that were amazing. Like it was really just so long as there wasn't this like pointed stick at the end of the offer being like, you better be there or our friendship's gonna suffer. Like that I
I
don't
get it.
like. That I don't like.
Listen, whenever I've been to Vegas, this is another place. So tons of bachelorettes at Disneyland, but anytime I've been to Vegas, and that's over the last 20 years, there is so many bachelorette parties.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they get a little they get kind of wild, I would say. The Vegas ones that I've seen, Disneyland, I did not see
Nashville.
any bride to
Mhm.
be with a vibrating dildo hanging around her neck, like literally moving, like a one of those
Mhm.
rabbit things moving around her neck. I didn't see any of that, but in Vegas, you just see. I remember seeing Chris calls them the Megan wagons,
Mhm.
Yep.
any kind of bachelorette people, but there was literally like 5 or 6 bridesmaids, the woman with the sash, a crown, a penis crown,
Mhm.
and then they all had strap-ons. They were all walking through the casino with strap-on dildos,
Like wearing them.
wearing them over their skirts and outfits, drunk as you like, drinking out of legs. And I'm like,
It's kind
oh,
of not very chic.
good heavens. But they were very loud and proud. And further to that, there's people, grown ass men, going up to them and getting their pictures taken with these 6 drunk, about to be wedded girl,
Ordering
getting
them for the
pictures
event right now.
Yeah.
going.
Ordering the
I'm joking. I'm joking.
If we buy in bulk, we can have. That's just not. I would. I get that. Montreal sounds much more kind of visiting and hanging out and still kind of fun and still having
Montreal's
fun drinks.
Montreal's a fun city. Like I remember going there on like the underage like tour Quebec, like French immersion or
Yes.
French trips that you would go on in high school. And you know, all my friends that went to McGill, like it's a party town, and so people really like they do go there and they go for it. I had said I don't want like a themed shirt. I've been to a lot of themed shirt bachelorettes. It's not for me. I was like, everyone just like, why would you pick a cute outfit, maybe even buy a cute outfit and then put a big t-shirt over it? Like, I don't. So I said I didn't want that. But then my maid of honor, who is like a creative genius, she made perfect. I feel like I'm going to try to show you for everyone on YouTube. She made perfect face masks of my face and then everyone wore them.
Oh my god,
And
that's funny.
I told them you like I was again like you don't have to do this. But there was like a crew of like 20 girls wearing my mask that would be
Yeah.
like walking down the street and then would like go into a bar.
They can also be let go of at a certain point of the night. It's not like it with
Oh
you for
man.
the entire thing, and it's fun. Like,
I also love the idea that at one point we're on the dance floor and everyone's ripped their mask off and there's like the dance floor's like littered with 20 of my faces. It was just like it felt funny. So I like stuff that's kind of more on the funny side of things. I will say the strip club, which was really good. It was very Magic Mike adjacent. Like they really put effort into their routines. There was one scene where a guy was on stage and he was in like a big bubble bath and like the bubbles poured out from the ceiling. And they were going for it. But I invited a male friend of mine, he's gay, to come and he lives in Montreal. And so he came this night to meet all my girlfriends and we're at the strip club. And he was sat with us and we were getting bottle service. So we're kind of close to the stage and they discriminated against him. And they said, like, first he was
ew.
there with us for a while, and then they were like, can you move away from the stage? Like, as if he was like gonna like do something to the dancers. I was like, do you really think a gay man can't control himself in a strip club? Like, give me a break. And
Yeah,
then they told him to go sit in a different section where
that's
the
really
lights
rude.
weren't on. And so then I became irate and I'd also been drinking. So then we all stormed out and we had just gotten fresh bottle service that had come over to our table. And I was like, you will not discriminate against my friend in this way. Like, we are out of here. And then all my girlfriends were like, but we just got more bottles of vodka. And so they poured them all into the carafes that the juice came in and put the saran wrap over like a straight thing of vodka with a big straw. And they were like, we're out of here.
Save the vodka.
Yeah, save the vodka. And we
But
did.
you know
And
what I like about this story of your bachelorette? You as the bride
Mhm.
being like a choose your own adventure. I know I said
Yes.
that before, but like the idea that you're not going to be upset if someone wants to go sightseeing or
No.
if someone wants to handle any part of the day differently. You don't want to wear the mask, you don't want to wear the mask.
It's your money. It's your time.
Like, I'm just thinking about, okay, my sister's Bachelorette was during Toronto Maple Leafs playoffs.
Folks, I don't know how we got talking about this, but here we are.
We're on a Bachelorette train right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Megan
we're
Wagon.
we're in Collingwood at a like an Airbnb, which is a beautiful, really big house. I feel like, because Caitlin, you missed a lot of this last year.
I did.
You haven't heard me say that.
Oh, Caitlin,
I missed
what
it.
this poor woman endured, it was
There was an Excel spreadsheet.
We had a soap opera going on.
Okay, there was an Excel spreadsheet that I was sent before the weekend of the Airbnb, which, might I add, I paid for on my credit card because that was the only thing I did to contribute to anything.
That's a lot, Sarah.
Well, I got paid back by everyone after, but that was my job.
Okay, but you had to find it and fucking, all that
well,
shit.
I mean, my sister's a type A, so she found it, and I just clicked purchase. That's literally what we were dealing with.
I take it all back. I take everything.
Jan's like,
so I received a spreadsheet that showed where everyone was sleeping for each night. And knowing that I just told you the Airbnb was on my credit card, I was in a children's bunk bed in the basement while all these other women had like beautiful queen and king size beds to themselves. Okay, so that's the first thing.
Okay.
When you walk in, there were door like placements that had your name on the door. So if you tried to go to another room, you were going to get told. Like it was labeled. And then when we were leaving on the Saturday for like a bunch of activities for the day, which I don't think you would have liked a bunch of activities planned, the organizer, the fascist leader, said, we're leaving the Airbnb for the entire day. Make sure you have everything with you. And there ended up being like a break between activities, and it was raining and not the best weather for walking around. So at one point, a few of us were going to go back to the Airbnb. I actually got threatened. Did you not hear? I said we were leaving the Airbnb for the entire day.
Okay, Stalin, relax.
And I was like, do you mean the Airbnb that's on my credit card? Is that the one you're referring to with the door code that I have and anyone who needs it? Like, this is where it's like, if you do want to go and do something on your own, but you're still participating in all the bridal activities, what the hell's your problem?
I agree. And this is where it comes into play that like, I'm not a joiner and I don't like summer camp and I don't like being told what to do. So I apply that to everyone else because I'm like, I don't want that.
Yeah, thank God.
That sounds terrible. I want to go to Jan's Bachelorette. Because Jann, if you got married tomorrow and I forced you to have a Bachelorette, what would it be?
What would we be doing? Yes, what a great question.
There'd be 8 people. Okay, that's it.
Max
so
8
small.
people.
There would be a motorhome, a really nice, big, long motorhome.
Okay.
I would be driving. So something posh, something that easily sleeps 8.
Okay.
Yep.
The kitchen table comes down. There's a nice double bed above where the driver is. There's a
ample room.
There's room.
Okay.
We are stocked with snacks and a blender for like icy margarita drinks. I won't drink, which is why I'm driving, but you guys can do whatever. There's going to be a whole bunch of card games.
Virgin drinks.
We're gonna stop at campsites. It's going to be a 3-night extravaganza.
Okay.
We're going to drive in the summertime through the Rocky Mountains. We're going to stop. We're going to make reservations at campgrounds. Fire bans permitting. We're going to have nice campfires. We're going to sit around. I'm going to bring a guitar or whatever.
Cove Soda.
We're going to tell stories. We're going to make s'mores and marshmallows and vegan marshmallows and vegan wiener hot dogs. And we're just going to sit. We're going to talk. And we're going to play a bunch of games where we tie like a ball in a nylon between our legs and like knock over plastic Solo cups.
Love this.
We are going to wash our hair in like the river. We're going to stop at a place and like all get showered in like a truck stop. We're going to go in with our towel under our arms. We kind of do. I think there's,
okay.
But we're just going to bring, and then for the final night, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to a Value Village or a thrift store. We're going to pick out, you got to draw a name out of a hat and we got to find an outfit
for
each person. So if I draw Caitlin, I have to buy a Value Village thrift store outfit, like shoes, fucking jeans, everything. And whatever you want to spend.
They're there to try it on.
If you got $80 they need to try it on, but they don't get to decide, I don't like this.
That's my favorite part of the whole trip so far.
Now we've got our outfits, and now we're going to go to like a pretty nice restaurant. We're going to park this freaking thing somewhere. The last night on a Saturday night, Sunday night, we're going to go
8 girls come
really
out
nice,
of a motorhome.
I'm obsessed.
We're going to come out of our motorhome. We're not going to be wearing penises or anything of the frickin' sort. We're going to have a little makeup on, and we're going to go have a nice meal. And I am going to buy the meal. I'm going to buy, because I've already forced people to have a Value Village outfit. And that's going to be our night. Then we're going to drive home, and you're going to pick up your car in my driveway and go to the airport. But we're just going to have a camping, but we're going to sleep inside. We're going to sleep inside of the motorhome. That's
so
it.
you respect walls. You respect my need for walls, which I like, and then everything else. Okay, so to recap, Jann's Bachelorette is a maximum of 8 people in a motorhome, but there's ample room. I did take notes. But there's ample room. It's driven by Jann. There's lots of snacks, and there are blender drinks, virgin and non-virgin alike. We're going to play card games. Ideally, head through the Rocky Mountains, and weather permitting and fire bans permitting, we'll have campfires, stories, songs, vegan wieners and marshmallows. And this will all culminate in a Value Village stylist mission, which is then followed by dinner at a nice restaurant. It's the dream.
That sounds great.
The fact that Jann just brought this up like off the top of her head, like that's art.
I thought about it.
You have clearly.
So listen, when we go on tour with the podcast, I'm just taking a page from Alex Cooper's book. I mean, she did her Bachelorette on tour. Let's do Jann's, and the motorhome.
Not Alice Cooper.
We'll carry the
not Alice Cooper. Alex Cooper.
Alex Cooper.
So, Alex Cooper. Yeah. But I feel like that sounds like
I think it would be super fun. And I just like the idea of 8 people, just because it would be. I don't know a ton of people. I don't have a ton of really, really close friends. I mean, I would definitely take you guys, Teresa, Lisa, and Bev.
She's like, well, now I have to take your asses.
We're all together. There's not a ton of us. There might even just be 6 of us. There might be you guys, Lisa, Bev, Teresa, me, and off we freaking go. Like,
what about Chris? Because he's the tour manager.
Well, Chris
would end it all.
Chris would tour manage us for sure. I would probably give it to him to organize. Like, can you rent the motorhome and stuff?
Okay.
But I have neighbors that are always offering me hey, if you ever want to use the stretch limo, my neighbors down the road have a giant Quonset. They have a double-decker bus in their driveway. They have a stretch, the white thing from 1988 that has the crystal carafes of Scotch, whiskey, rye, gin, like actually filled in there.
Wow.
Yeah,
Very National Lampoons.
My sons to drive you. I should take her up on that. Next time you guys are here, we'll go, hey, Teresa, can I take you up on your stretch limo? And we'll go to some wacko place and have a great time.
Does Teresa have the Quonset?
Teresa is my first neighbor on the road that has the Quonset. We got to get Caitlin out here. We got to get her out there.
Yeah, she has to see what.
It's a whole world I'm completely unfamiliar with. I've never seen a Quonset.
It's a big steel building. We've talked about this before, and
we
about
named
the
an episode
pickleball.
after it.
I know.
I played pickleball in her Quonset.
Pickleball in the Quonset was title of app.
And I kept having to crawl beneath a tractor to get my perforated pickleball out.
See, I'm a city slicker. So I've been to a warehouse rave at 4 a.m., but I have not been to a Quonset.
I haven't been to either. What does that make me?
A wild party at that Quonset. She's always invited me. One of her kids is always getting married. And she invites me down there, but there's a whole level up top that's an entire home. And I think her son, his wife, and one of her grandkids is living up there, but they have a tennis court out back. They're the greatest neighbors. They're
cute.
So
I love that.
Every Christmas I have a giant bag of peanut brittle hanging on my gate, and I could just kill her because I eat the whole fucking thing.
Oh, I love Teresa. I don't even know
and
her.
She's so sweet. On the card always says, I don't know if it's vegan. It's got baking soda in it, and there's just a dash of cream. And I'm like, I will eat that dash of cream. Don't you worry.
Don't worry, Teresa. You've done your best.
Anyway, I'm glad that you guys are going to come to my Bachelorette. And you know what? I might just not. I could still just marry the Lord. I don't have to marry a person.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. And whoever that Lord may be.
Mm-hmm.
Be it Buddha or whoever.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you guys, speaking of Bachelorette, we got to do some games. We got to do some games at our live event. And not to say they have to be Bachelorette games, but I already got a brainstorm going.
Oh, you did? I hadn't thought of any.
Okay, so
I got. Go.
You got what? You got what?
I was just gonna say, do we want to give it away?
Oh, okay. I can keep it to myself. We can leave it for Patreon.
I think we should leave it for Patreon.
Okay.
Okay. So come on over to Patreon after the episode to hear more about that.
Yeah,
Zipping
I'm just
it
saying
up.
stuff like that is this the one thing that I do have Chris working on, and I'm going to tell it to everybody who's listening, all our wonderful, beautiful listeners. And we do have a
Okay.
Patreon. You can sign up. You can go to our show notes. There's a link you can click on. $5 a month. You get all kinds of fun things, lots of little nips and clips and pictures. I don't know what a nip and a clip is. You'll just have to find out when you go to
Crannies,
Patreon.
everything. It's all
But
there.
Chris and I, we are probably going to have drum roll, please.
Oh,
Is it ready?
Oh, wait, I have a sound effect. Please hold. Let me get it. I wish I was prompted for this drum roll. Please
No,
hold.
it's okay. Sorry, my bad.
And
we are going to have a pinata.
that is not what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, we are having a pinata. Chris is working on it.
Okay.
And,
can it be shaped like you and it's a Janyata?
Well, it could be a Janyata. Maybe I can paint a face on there. But it's going to be filled with all kinds of candies and like lots of candies. But we're going to have a little draw. So I thought at some point, I haven't talked to you girls about this yet, but we're going to do like a quick Q&A before we start the podcast.
Yeah.
I just thought we could do that off camera, or we can do it on camera and have it all recorded. But like 8 lucky winners will get to have a chance to swing at the pinata.
Oh.
If you ask a question. Yeah.
And win some candies.
I love this.
But everyone's going to get some candy anyway. So I just want you to know everyone's going to get some candy. I got a line on some candy.
Okay.
Clearly.
I got a line on some damn candy.
This is a Bachelorette now.
Kind of. I mean, yeah.
But a pinata I thought would be fun.
So random.
Just
everyone likes
I
a
approve
pinata.
it.
I'm fine with a pinata. I'm not mad at a pinata at all, in fact.
Great. Yeah. Do we need to now we need to think about what are we hitting with? Are we bringing baseball bats to Universal Music?
We could.
I think we can just use some kind of a bat. You're the baseball player. Well, you're in charge of bringing the bat.
If we start getting in, if we veer into Bachelorette game territory, though, I fear for us all. Because do you remember when did you guys ever do the like pin the macho on the man?
Yes.
What does that mean? A wiener on his crotch?
It's a wiener on like it's like a this.
Literally, they had that poster. Caitlin.
You did?
Same poster. And my friends were all teachers. They were like, you cannot put this on social media.
I'm wondering if this man gets paid royalties because he's an adult film star and he's on all these posters. So I wonder if he gets royalties.
You have to watch this part on YouTube.
You do. Sorry, I'm showing a poster on my phone.
I've seen adult film stars literally doing marketing, like get-togethers, evenings, events, marketing events, selling their vaginas. They have a cast
like molds.
Vaginas, a mold of the inside and the outside of their labia, their vaginas, and they're selling them in boxes, wrapped in cellophane with fancy.
Because it's like fleshlights, right? So it's like a sex object that like men or women, well, I guess not women, men predominantly, but gay or hetero would use, and it would be like an anatomically correct recreation of their favorite adult film star's anatomy, which is a strange thing to want. But I mean, again, I'm not here to kink shame. So you do you. If it's between consenting adults and someone's making a lot of money off it, who am I to judge?
But these events are packed and they're literally signing with Sharpie their rubber vaginas.
Yeah. Well, I think they're silicone usually, but people are too horny to live.
I don't know.
I've said it before. You could quote me on this one, but people are truly too horny to live. And I am not surprised that there are giant lines for this.
Lions, like 1,000 men crammed into a room. We are moving on from this.
Okay.
The most glorious fall foliage in the U.S. isn't New England.
Oh.
So I'm just going to read you a little bit of an article that came out in the Thrillist, and it's about fall colors and fall things that are happening. And it starts out, the woman's name is Castellana. I hope I'm saying that right. Madrano. Okay. And is it just us, or does it seem like we're all desperately trying to jump into fall this year? And I kind of agree. I don't know how people suddenly got sick of summer, but she has listed all these great spots. So New England was a spot, and you love New England. I know that you do. And but they've discovered that there are other parts of the country where it's so much better. Alaska, for one thing, has never come to my mind for changing fall colors, but apparently Alaska is absolutely brilliant, and Texas. So if there's anybody thinking of going to see leaves, you have something called a fall color map. And if you go on to Google or whatever and you put in fall color map, you're going to come up with stuff that could very well be in your own backyard. You might even be able to zero in on where your favorite fall stuff is. So
Oh, for
I don't
sure.
know how
They call
Virginia.
they're calling it a leaf peep. A leaf peep. Now, that's like the term for people who want to go look at leaves or stare
This
at the
has
fall
nothing to do with
foliage.
porn stars, folks.
Has
We've moved
nothing
on
to
from the
do.
porn stars. Shenandoah National Park in Virginia.
Okay.
Great fall temperatures. You can drive through the park in your SUV or a motorhome with 7 of your dearest friends.
Wearing Value
That
Village.
means s'mores.
Yeah.
They have something called the 105-mile Skyline Drive. See, now that sounds like something I could get behind. You could do that in 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Go through Virginia. I've never been to Virginia, but that's also up in that kind of New England-y area that you like, the Connecticut, Virginia, all up in there, right? The Northeast, sort of?
I'm not familiar enough with the location of Virginia because in my mind it's further south, but I don't know offhand if it is further south. It might be right next door.
Cherokee National Forest,
Okay.
Blue Ridge Parkway.
Again, though, like I'm not going to the US for my leaf peep.
Michigan.
I'm going to keep it in Ontario.
They didn't list anything in Canada.
Yeah, rude.
Colorado.
It's because Thrillist is US.
Fantastic.
Jan, have you been up to cottage country in
Yes.
Ontario
Yeah.
in the fall?
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I sang for a wedding up there for a couple of gay fellas, and it was fantastic. We set up a stage. They had a beautiful backyard. You can only imagine how fantastical this place was. And I sang there. It was probably the summer, and we got ready in their boathouse, which was like bigger than my house. Their boathouse was massive.
Mm-hmm.
And we just did a set. We did like a 1-hour set with people dancing with their kids on the lawn, and it was pretty cool.
My parents said you're welcome anytime.
Well, honestly, the fall foliage hunt is also a really big deal in Ontario because we have so many great forests and national parks.
Yes.
So it's a whole thing. Any direction you head in, you're going to see it. But obviously, there's like the classics, which would be like Muskoka, all in and around Georgian Bay. Prince Edward County has a ton. My favorite is and always will be the Eastern Townships of Quebec, where I should damn near live based on
The
how much I
Eastern
talk about it.
Townships need to be.
They have my heart. They do. Even though they probably don't want me there because I don't speak French, but whatever.
Are they friendly with English? Like, do they kind of, are they a bit helpful? Because
it's very Anglo, I would say, down there. Like some of the towns are really small and they can be quite French, but because of its proximity to the US border, I find that it is quite Anglo. It's very close to Montreal. It's a big vacation spot for skiing or hiking or lakes or cottages and stuff. So it is that vibe. But overall, though, Quebec has really moved much more in the direction of like, beat it, you Anglos, in the last little while. So that part of it.
Sounds like Emily in Paris, but Caitlin in Quebec.
Caitlin in Quebec, where everyone's like, start speaking French, you dumbass. And I don't disagree.
No, I don't disagree either. I think I love that you guys have favorite spots. I love that you sort of acclimate yourselves and you get into the culture and you do the art scene and you do the food and the coffee shops and you spend money and you're part of a community, right? I think it's really fantastic to do that. We're going to wrap things up because we are going to go over to Patreon and we're going to talk about some more stuff. I'm going to leave you with this here, though. I'm addicted to cucumbers. Yes. I've just realized that. We are still not talking about the porn is over. We've moved on from that. I love a sliced cucumber. I have been making variations on cucumbers. I don't know if you guys have fallen prey to this. It is a TikTok phenomenon. There's a kid in New York somewhere that has literally made it very difficult to find long English cucumbers on Manhattan. I don't know. This kid he's perfected a shaken. We can blame the Kardashians for shaken salads. Cucumbers. He only does cucumbers. I do radishes, onions, peas, like frozen peas that I blanch, I cool down, I put them in there. And then the dressing is peanut butter, soy sauce, sesame seed oil, salt and pepper, chili flakes, and rice wine vinegar. And you dump it in there.
I'm drooling.
I cannot. Yesterday, I went to Bray Creek before we said goodbye, and I bought every one of their cucumbers. And the woman at the checkout was actually mad.
Oh, I bet.
She goes, "Is that all the cucumbers?" I said, "Well, there's still some mini ones there." And she just was like, And I felt bad. And then part of me wanted to like trail back with one English cucumber and set it back on the fake green grass where the mister was coming on. And I didn't. I just took my fucking bag. And there might have been 8. Like, it's not like I took 40. I want to just be very clear here.
But they just didn't. They didn't have cukes to spare, and you cleaned them out. So that's fine.
That's what's happening. That's our show for today. So,
do you want to hear some voice notes before we go?
Oh my God,
I love a voice note.
Yeah, okay. Let's do a quick voice note, or 2 or 3. And I'm so sorry that I didn't realize that this is how we're finishing the show. This is our new thing. Go.
Okay. First up, Kathy.
Kathy.
Hi, ladies. I'm a longtime fan, and I've enjoyed listening to Jann on DNTO, The Business of Life, and the current Jann Arden podcast. Sometimes I feel like I know you, Jann, as our lives are very similar in many ways, even if I am 2 years older. I've heard you mention Howick jeans in a few different podcasts, and it took me right back to 1976 and all the fun I had in those bell bottoms. Another thing we share is celebrating our lady friends. As I've lived in the same village for almost 65 years, I have many friends that I've known since birth. And a few months ago, I realized just how many times I've said, oh, we need to get together for lunch. And it never happens. Kathy. So I organized a ladies' luncheon at one of our local establishments. So last month, we had over 20 of us there, and also 4 dogs. And I addressed the gathering just by letting them all know how important each and every one of them are to me. I also promise that we'll do it again, which we've already planned. I was lucky enough to score 2 tickets through Patreon to your live podcast on October 1st. I'm taking one of my girlfriends, and we really can't wait. We're so excited. Yay. So keep up the great work, ladies. You really know how to make your podcast feel like a therapy session, but not a therapy session. Thank you very much. Toodly-doo.
Kathy, that'll be $120.
I hope she wears her bell bottoms to the event.
I love it. Oh, that's great, Kathy.
She's supporting women in the arts, and she is a woman in the arts now. So love that.
Love it.
Okay, here's a couple more. And by the way, if you're one of our only Jans on Patreon, part of your $5 a month is like we're guaranteeing Patreon shout outs. So here's one of those.
Hi, Jann. Hi, Caitlin. Hi, Sarah. It's only Jan Mattia from Prince George, British Columbia. And I just wanted to pop on real quick and leave a voice note about intimacy and bodily functions. My Ron and I have been together for 23, married for 21, and I pretty much started letting it go from the time we got married.
Wonder what
and
inspired
oddly enough,
this.
Jann, I would say to him, it deepens our intimacy, and you know how much I love you when I'm this comfortable to be able to do these things in front of you, and I truly do believe that. So whether it's vaginal farts or bum farts or peeing, but I do say I leave it at that. Pooping is like next level for me, but whatever floats your boat. I also wanted to add, Jann, I think that you should get yourself a GoPro when you're doing your digs, and then we can all watch those adventures. I'm going to add that I just think you girls are amazing and uplifting and fun and all those wonderful things, and just keep doing what you're doing, and can't wait to one day see you live in action. Okay.
Yes,
ciao
you
for
will.
now.
Thank you so much. That's
a
amazing.
couple more.
Yep.
Got a couple. Okay.
Hi, Jann. It's Brenda calling here from Milton, Ontario. And I want to say thank you so much for giving Billy Ann, one of our local recording artists. You had her open up for you last summer, I believe, in Massey Hall. And I wanted to give a great shout out to you for thinking of her and lifting her up and building her confidence. She's an amazing young lady, and we're so proud of her. And just thank you for everything you do.
Billy Ann's fantastic. Go follow her on Instagram, TikTok. She's an amazing young singer. I think she's 20 years old now. And I discovered her on social media, and I had her come down to Massey Hall and sing a song. But Billy Ann, just the way it sounds, Billeanne, I believe. Or maybe there's no E on the end of Billy Ann, but you'll find her. There's only one Billy Ann on there.
Okay. I love this.
Okay.
Hi, Jann, Sarah, and Caitlin. My name's Rebecca Brown, and I'm calling in from Southern Ontario. I wanted to thank you, Jann, for all your passion and hard work on the Horseshit campaign. I'm a therapist with an additional certification in equine assisted therapy. So one day a week, I'm at a stable providing therapy, usually heavy trauma therapy with horses at the center of our session. I honestly believe that horses heal humans. Horses shouldn't feed humans. I followed your campaign for years, signed the petition, posted on social media. I've even got the horse shit sweatshirt. I wish I could be at your event in Vancouver, but I'll be at the Word on the Street Book Festival on September 28th and 29th in Toronto. And like many of your podcast listeners, I wanted to say how much I love and appreciate all of you. Keep doing what you're doing. You make us think, you make us laugh, you make us cry, and it all matters. So, on behalf of my horse Dolly and all the horses who deserve respect and dignity, thank you and toodly doo.
Oh, Jesus.
I know, Rebecca Brown and
Thank you.
Dolly. I love
Rebecca,
that.
equine therapy. Yeah,
That's
it's
your next career.
I know. What
Gotta be.
important work, though, truly. Like, it's really nice to help people in that way.
Oh my gosh, there's just so many things. Listen, we're going to leave it there. What a great positive message. Thank you for your voice notes. Please keep leaving them. You can go to jannardenpod.com. It's really easy. You'll see a little microphone icon and you can just click on it and start talking. And don't even worry about it. If you feel like you're rambling on, Sarah's great at editing. And,
we'll just cut you off. Don't worry about it.
No, but she won't cut you off, but she'll certainly give you a hand if you feel like you need to start over again.
If
Like,
I can edit these two, I can edit anyone. I'm joking.
Hey, just
right
because
off.
we're long-winded.
Why don't you edit out that fuck right off?
I'm joking.
Listen, come see us at Patreon. We're going to talk about whatever the hell Sarah's got going on with stuff. But yeah, you don't want to miss that pinata. Sign up for Patreon. We need your support so much to help keep making this podcast. And we love you, and we'll see you next time. We're on all your favorite podcasting platforms. We're easy to find. We'll see you next time. Toodly-doo.